Hello, 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 great people. This is Dana Bell, greeting you, and thanks for tuning in to Believe in Your Better podcast. Today, I have a very special person that I am going to introduce you to. Um, she has a special place in my heart because as I was becoming getting groomed for therapy world. This lady, she really, really helped me stop the overthinking about it, not not walking in fear as I made this change. And she is my mentor, even though I am a little bit older than her. But she is a great, great gift that God has given us people who seek out to help others feel better and get healthier. And so, without further ado, I introduce you to Dr. Shan Fuqua. She is a licensed professional counselor, educator, author, and nationally respected mental health expert with more than 22 years of experience. With a master's in counseling and a PhD in general psychology, she specializes in helping women heal from generational trauma and is an EMDR certified therapist and consult who trains clinicians in delivering high quality evidence based care. Licensed in both Michigan and Georgia, Dr. Sean is the co founder of the Licensed Professional Counselor Institute. They serve I'm sorry. She also serves as a faculty at Morris Brown College and Southern New Hampshire University and is widely known as the therapist. Yay! Her passion is simple yet powerful, helping people understand the mental health is mental wealth and reminding us all that healing is possible. Please help me welcome Dr. Sean. Yay. Look, I'm telling you, I'm getting me one of those machines and so they will have the clapping. Yay, Dr. Sean. So thank you so much for being on my podcast. I really consider this an honor because, like I said, you really did help me um, have a different thought so that I could believe in my better as I gained knowledge and experience with helping others become healthier in their mental wellness. So, thank you.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited and honored to be here anytime anyone calls. Because what I do behind the scenes is what I do, and there's so much work for us to do. So, that comes from just a labor of love and making sure
Yeah.
whoever got's next feels supported, has direction and things like that. And so when I'm
Hmm.
called to be on a podcast or get on somebody's video or panel or something, I'm just like, okay, here we go. I'm gonna share, but it definitely comes from a place of love and wanting people to know, like, there's somebody here that's rooting for them and will support them.
Absolutely. And what's even makes that more true is we met through another person. So
Yeah.
my one of my friends, I knew her family, and we were co-workers with the state of Michigan, and she introduced me to you and told me about you. And she was like, Dana, I'm going to introduce you to Dr. Sean, and I'm sure she can help you. And in my head, I'm like, she don't want to be bothered with me. Why would she take that time? And you embraced me as if we had known each other forever. And you walked me through those steps, and any type of confusion I had, you were right there. So I know that your work does come from a place of love in your heart and wanting to educate others. Absolutely. So let's start with so I want you to take us through your path because the theme of the podcast is believing you're better. And when I met you, you had not too long received your master's in clinical mental health, and you moved on through to obtaining your doctorate. So walk us through the process of how did you get to that space where um, you were married and going through uh, a divorce, but saw in your head, hey, let me get this doctorate.
Okay. All right. I'm definitely one of those person who use goal list. Now we have things like vision boards and where we put down goals that we want to have. And so
Mm-hmm.
very early on I knew that I wanted to complete a PhD. I was working in a school setting. So I taught at a college or part-time,
Right.
and then I said, well, okay, I want to go on further. But even in that, before I got the master's, I was working in human service programs and nonprofits, just having a story where I could relate to the people. And I just said, I just want to make sure that when I take these steps to go forward, that number one, even encouraging people that look like me or have a similar story to me,
Mm-hmm.
um, to go further, but also is, what can I learn along the way, so I can give back, not necessarily come back, so I can give back. And so that's what made me want to go to school and further my education, as well as getting the PhD, working in
Okay.
education.
So now, when you speak of your story, give the listeners a little bit of that. In what regards, what as you say, you want to go and help these people because they remind you of some aspect of you. So give us a little bit of that.
So, being a young mom, I have my daughters now are 35 and 33. So I had
Mm-hmm.
my children early. I was in my early 20s, but being a young mom and being a single mom
Mm-hmm.
and coming out of a situation where I was receiving state assistance and in
Okay.
programs like that. And so knowing that I wanted the girls to have better, I knew that I was going
Mm-hmm.
to have to go to school or do something. So I did, several things. I've worked as a certified nursing assistant, um,
Okay.
been I've been an administrative assistant, and so even then, those jobs, I knew that for the type of life that I wanted them to have, or like to be a homeowner, like I knew I needed more. So I decided
Mm-hmm.
to go back to school, and I went back to school when I was in I worked for a housing program for the
Okay.
Wayne County's housing program, and that's when I decided to go back to school. So I started off in the traditional way, but came home and got pregnant, and that's really, so I'm like 20 years old trying to figure this out, like, and I knew I wanted to go back to school, but what I
Mm-hmm.
call myself is I took the scenic route, and while we worked for the housing program, and it was Section 8, seeing a lot of young women,
Mm-hmm.
similar to me. And I was like, well, I want to be able to do, I want to be able to own a home, and I want to be able to, let them know, like, even though this is how our situation started, this doesn't mean that's how it's going to end up. So that was kind of that first leg of pursuing the bachelor's degree. And then, from there, knowing if I wanted to move up in different programs, or to be some type of administrator or supervisor, that would probably need an advanced degree. And that's what made um, go get the master's degree. So there's a story with that one. Okay. So I'm gonna tell that story. Um, you know, the funny thing is I didn't want to be a counselor. And I actually do. I say this on my social media. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
surprising to be here 22 years later, but it wasn't what I started out to go to school. I went for human resources. I went for business management. My bachelor's in business. So I was like, well, I'm gonna own something.
Mm-hmm.
And um during that time, or just when I worked for the Section 8 housing program, people would tell me all kinds of personal stories, all kinds
Mm-hmm.
of stories. And when I was listening, I will always say, "Well, don't show it on your face. Just listen. Don't ask any questions. Judge. Yeah, I mean, don't judge. It was like
Mm-hmm.
trying to like, what do I say while people are dropping stories on me about one lady told me she caught her husband in bed with another woman. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? You know,
Mm-hmm.
do with that kind of information. And when I went to the school to sign up for school, again, I had already started the MBA. I really didn't like that. I went for human resources.
Well, wait a minute. Go back just a teensy bit. So
Yeah.
you you were raised in Detroit?
Yes. Born and
Okay,
raised
so
inside.
okay, what high school did you graduate from?
Persian High School.
Oh, okay, Persian. Mm-hmm. Okay, so and then you went where
And then
for
right after
college?
Persian, I went to Olivet College. Like I went
Oh,
to,
okay.
yep, I went right after high school, and um, transferred to Ferris State. So just got
Okay.
for the path for everybody to know how it goes. So I transferred, and from there, I came home, and in the summer, a little surprise happened during there,
Okay.
and
Okay,
that's
so I wanted people to see that because sometimes people think that they're not made for college, the bachelor's degree, and they get well back in the day when we were coming through, they had a lot of different programs that you could get to like 2-year programs and start working, but they would get sidetracked and not go to the 4-year college and get the bachelor's. Okay.
mhm.
So all right. So now we following you. So you got your BA and you thought, hey, let me try and get this master's.
I was saying, yep, said, let me try to
Okay.
get this master because it worked. It got me in the door. I did
Mm-hmm.
a job at the county, Wayne County.
Okay.
And so, I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
it's
good.
right. Look, because look, that was the thing back in the day. You
Right.
you worked for the city of Detroit,
Right.
Wayne County, the Big Three, a
Mhm.
school teacher,
Mhm.
or the
State of
state of
Michigan.
Michigan,
Yep.
and seriously, you have made it.
Right. So you know that, right? So it was
Hmm.
like once I got in there, it was if I wanted to move up to management, I needed another degree, which is what made me go for the MBA, and then
Okay.
I was going to go for human resources. And when I went to the school, they were actually fading the human resources program out for the campus that I wanted to go to.
Okay.
And but they were starting their counseling program. And so she had me write a paper right there on the spot. Um
Hmm.
a couple of questions, and she said, I thought you would be good for the program. So first of all, part of me was like, okay, is this a pitch? Are they just talking to me? But then I
Was
thought
that
about,
Dr. Armiger?
it wasn't, it was Dr. McDonald. So
Oh, was it?
yeah, so
Yeah,
some
because
of
I got my master's from Siena Heights.
the okay,
Yeah,
so okay, someone who, so Dr. McDonald was who
over the department.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, before,
Hmm.
yeah, that was even before Dr.
She was
Ermer.
really good too.
And she just sat and she talked to me, and she said she thought I would be good for the program. And I thought about how people would share things with me, and I was like, I really do want to know what to say to them. um
Hmm.
but I still felt like I did not want to be a therapist, which is funny. And I went on and did the program anyway, because again, the other side of that was like, if I wanted to move up, I needed a master's degree. They never really said what you needed a master's degree in the county, because they had all kinds of jobs.
Hmm.
And so I did it, and here we are 20 plus years later, and I love it. And I tell people, counseling found me. I didn't find counseling.
Okay, so we're the same in that because uh one day I was at work. I tell people this story. Nope, I did not. That was not on my plan to be a therapist, a counselor. Nope, it sure was not. But one day I was sitting at work when I was welfare fraud investigator. And I was like, God, I know that I'm supposed to be doing something else. I know it's to help people and impact. What is it? And he told me, yeah, why don't you go get your degree in counseling? And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. Like just sitting at my desk saying, and yeah, I was hard headed, slow to move, but it ended up happening, and here we are. I am a therapist and love and actually love it
Yeah.
to pieces. And it's funny when you said you got your degree in something else, like and how your life is framed around counseling, because I have always been, like you said, a caregiver, taker, so to speak. And with that, like as a parole agent, how many stories do I have to hear? How many people I got to help? Okay, so I know that that's what's going on, but we got to think about something else so that you can finish, so you can get off of parole and not go back to prison ever again. They have to change the way that they think about things and or understand their emotions. So doing that for 18 years, you say you didn't want to be a counselor, but for real, that's what you were doing, right? So that's good. That's good, Dr. Sean. So share your experience from making that move from working at the county and doing like you said, your internships and practicums and things with actually uh, honing in on your craft.
So, from there, as you mentioned, in any of your programs where you have that mental health component, there is a part where you get the experiential learning. And so we have
Hmm.
and we have internship in counseling, and you that's where you're getting your hours, and you're getting that experience, those things you learn in
Right.
school, to work with someone. And sometimes and I get tickled, right? I had a VHS recorder recording my sessions, and a tape
Hmm.
recorder. That's how long ago that was, and recording the sessions. I don't even know what they do now. But you go in, and this is where you learn that piece. And from there, you have to have post degree hours. And so
Hmm.
1,000 hours. We have 3,000 in Georgia as well. And so the degrees, all the degrees have some post degree hours, and that's where you're working in supervision. So it's best to get off. And I'm doing my little my PSA for new people that's coming in. It's best to go ahead and get that experience, work under
Hmm.
somebody, and get it together. In
Yes.
Georgia, you can't you have to take the test first,
Oh,
pass
okay.
the test before you can get post degree hours. And so and then each state has like their kind of range of how long they give you to get these hours.
Hmm.
So
I think that really that's good to be, so then you don't procrastinate with taking your test to get your license.
yes,
Yeah.
excuse me. um so from there, I was a contractor for the state of Michigan, and I was seeing kids who were in foster care.
Okay.
Yes. And so during those early days, I saw the children who came into the system. I saw the
Hmm.
parents. I also did family reunification for 4 years.
Okay.
That's where, when they go back home, they put a licensed professional and a caseworker in, and they give you 6 months to a year to help the family get readjusted, reunified, reconnect, those kind of things. You
Hmm.
also are making sure that we don't have a repeat. So I can honestly say sometimes the cases didn't go well. Most of them did. The
Hmm.
program worked how it stood, but sometimes parents just didn't quite get what they needed,
Yeah.
and the kids have to go back in the system. And so those were the early years. of getting my experience, uh, gaining my confidence, as well as just really learning how to build boundaries, um,
Okay.
and also compassion, and learning family systems as well as patterns of how, and I'll say, just you learn things because you begin to see there's some things that connect or that are similar in all of these stories,
Mm-hmm.
that made me say, okay, I want to make sure that I can help children, um, uh, families,
Okay.
and women. And when I say families, sometimes it was the children and the partner or the father or whatever. I
Mm-hmm.
did couples for a minute too. After I left working with the foster care system, I didn't like that. but
Okay. Okay.
I was like, well, because I hadn't had any experience doing that, and I was like, oh, let me do. And I did. I did some workshops and retreats. Um, it worked well. It was lucrative. I will say that, when you
Mm-hmm.
marriage retreats and working with couples, but it was exhausting. So
Okay.
those were
And
early.
every facet, that's one thing too, people should understand. Every facet of mental health, every counselor, therapist, they don't know everything about everything to deal with our mental health. We have certain areas that we work in more so than others. And that's a good example of it. When you speak about the family unit.
Hmm.
Yeah. Uh-oh. So tell me, how did you position yourself to be the therapist?
Mm. I think that was a combination between working in higher education and always having clients on the side. So there really hasn't been a time where I have not seen people or I have not taught. And so
Okay.
what so I gave you like the early part of the career, in that I was doing therapy and working for the state. And then in there I started teaching classes for one of the local universities, and was
Mm-hmm.
doing, so I'm coming in at night with my books and, teaching that night class. And from there, teaching other therapists. So I taught in master's programs, or in and I've taught in um, bachelor's programs. But when you're teaching people, it made me say, I want to make sure that when you come into this field or after you finish your academic journey, how do
Mm-hmm.
you get supported to really come to get that self-actualization of the therapist? And so that required several things, not only passing your national exam, but the supervision, um,
Yes.
building up a private practice if that's what you want, but business practices, you know, um, understanding contractual work. So that's what I meant when I said the therapist, which evolved into actually being
Mm-hmm.
the therapist for therapists. Now I know that can be kind of controversial. Some people say, well, what is why does a therapist need a therapist? Or, if they talking to somebody, why should I be talking to them? I need people to understand that therapy is more than just talking to people
Mm-hmm.
first. That does come with that space, but also um, understanding vulnerability, having increased self awareness,
Mm-hmm.
broadening perspectives. Then there's evidence training that we have, which is, me being trained in EMDR. And you have things like IFS, which is internal family systems. I've done some IFS
Mm-hmm. Yes.
work. I've worked with children, and so with play therapy, and so that's, you get additional training. So there's some things that it's not just when we're working with kids, we don't come and sit and talk with kids like we talk with
Mm-hmm.
adults. therapy,
Right.
but we also know there's certain items, and we're looking for how the child interacts with certain items that will
Mm-hmm.
cause us to do have certain questions or to do an assessment and to inquire, like, do we need to pull some more testing out because a child is showing some limitations. So people just think that you just come in and sit down and talk to somebody. It's more than that. And
Right.
my point was, I want therapists to have that fullness of what it is, and you get that by doing your own therapy. So you don't have to
Yes.
necessarily have a problem. So
Right.
and so that's the long version of how I became a therapist. And now I do actually have several therapists on that I see.
Right. And plus the fact when when we start the program, they tell you you're your first client.
You should be.
You are your first client. So as you look for certain areas that people have problems with, yeah, I know that because hey, I experienced that.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
why wouldn't we need everybody needs a therapist? I tell say that all the time. Not everybody, yes, everybody needs
I,
a
I
therapist.
I tell people that if you will go to the doctor and if you get your car checked out, because some people don't go to the doctor and some people ain't doing car
Right.
maintenance.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And that's true. However,
But if you do,
it doesn't negate the principle. Yes, you do need a doctor and you do need a auto person.
right.
You can't fix it all. You in the back you were thinking that hey, what I'm thinking is correct all the time. Absolutely is not. You
Correct.
cannot be 100% correct. Those are your thoughts, but that doesn't mean that those thoughts are true.
That is
So,
correct.
so yes, I love that. I love that. So now, speak on because I know that you have this little book when you're talking about the little people. You have this, and I say little in the sense of it's for the little ones, not that it's insignificant for those who might say, why she call it a little book? But it's for the little ones. So tell our listeners about your book that you're an author.
Yes, I am. So I mentioned that I do work with children, and I have for a significant part of my mental health experience. And so, ironically, in 2020, I wrote the book. And so the book was already in play before 2020 changed all of our lives. And I say that
Mm-hmm.
because after that, when I started doing therapy virtually, I stopped seeing children.
Okay.
And so the book is called Growing Places with Bailey. And Bailey is a character that I have created, and she is 7.5 years old, and she just has a very not unusual, but usual life. And so learning mental health of a 7-year-old. And so
Mm-hmm.
the book is called Growing Places. I haven't completed the second book. I actually have four in the series that it
Okay.
came in as a download. And so I still have, and when I say it's a download, you could download the book, but I
Mm-hmm.
was given four distinctive stories. And so this first story is about Bailey navigating anxiety of reading out loud. Um,
Oh.
and it came because I spoke to a second grade class. So, as a therapist, they had me come in as a speaker, and I could not believe the questions that the second graders were asking. And
Okay.
so it made me say, no, we do need to be talking to them about mental health as well as like how to regulate their own bodies and things like that, and what we can do. And so this is where Bailey Day, my character, came in. And as I said, the first book is really about the anxiety of reading out loud, and her mom's helping her navigate that. And so hopefully, and I do have the book on my Etsy page. I can send you a link
Yes.
to that because it's also a
Yes.
digital download. But really great for uh, therapists just to be able to have that language. And
Okay.
not that you don't, but also great for parents because what I also
Yes.
include in the book is what I call learning pages that have some questions in the back that you can have a discussion with your child about what was going on with Bailey. And you'll be surprised what,
Mm-hmm.
what they say in terms of what they're dealing with, because like I said, in this case, Bailey was afraid to read out loud. You may be surprised at what your child is dealing with that they don't talk about or speak on
Right.
like we do as adults, or not speak on, because a lot of times adults carry things. But this is
Yes.
a great way to start introducing them to be able to talk about their feelings.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. So, your other area of expertise is to offer EMDR classes, right?
I do. So I do
And
offer
that's
EMDR.
continuing ed for, look, us
It is,
therapists.
it is continuing ed. And so
Okay.
EMDR is eye movement desensitization reprocessing that was introduced by Dr. Francine Shapiro in late 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
And In recent years, it really has taken off, because what EMDR does is it adds in um, what we call dual attention awareness. And so that's being in two places at once. And sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
we can do that, but we do it in a structured
Mm-hmm.
way. And then we use bilateral stimulation. That's where the left and the right or eye movement comes in. And there's various ways that we do it now,
Okay.
um, help process whatever that stuck point is. And so when you're dealing with trauma, or anything for that matter, and you feel like I don't know what else happened, or I don't want to talk about it, or I
Mm-hmm.
don't know where I'm stuck, is the bilateral stimulation helps from hitting the left and the right side, or doing two things at once to help process that along. What we do with EMDR is that you have these structured questions where we set everything up, and then we come in and we process. Now, listen, as a therapist, I try to tell other therapists it has been a game changer for me in terms of like the leaps that people take in the healing process. We know
Okay.
that talking can help you and give you that validation, but if you
Mm-hmm.
really are trying to move a person forward where it doesn't come back again, or what we call adaptive, when you enter an adaptive or another option, it
Mm-hmm.
does that with EMDR. So
Okay.
yes, I am trained as a consultant, and I do work with another therapist who is a trainer, and so we've been able to train, especially people who what Dr. G, and her name is Dr. Carolyn Gonzalez in Texas. We say that we want it to be affordable, accessible, and culturally competent.
Okay. All right. So give everyone how can they contact you and obtain either Bailey's book, or for the therapist that might be on, where they can get the training.
So my website is www. Dr. DrShawn, Dr. Sean online com. And so that's where I have like upcoming events.
Okay.
I also have a link to my Etsy page. The Etsy page has like the book, the digital download of the book, as well as some EMDR resources, or just some other resources when you are working with your clients. I also have a contact page. If you sign up on the contact page and click that you just want information,
Mm-hmm.
a therapist. Once a month, I send out a newsletter. I send out a newsletter. We highlight other therapists. We also talk about tools that are good to use, and trainings that I have coming up.
Okay.
The institute, which you mentioned in the introduction,
Mm-hmm.
Licensed Professional Counselor Institute, we provide continuing education for counselors.
Okay. So now, look, I want to take you, mm, I'm about to put you into a space, and I
Okay.
want you to talk to this lady over here, this gentleman over there. They're listening to you, but they feel stuck. they in their head they're processing, oh well, she had help, she has money. I want you to take them through how your thought process was on believing in your better. You started off, you did good, you graduated high school, you went to college and you finished, and then uh you it's a part of life, and that's what I always, it's a part of life. Somebody gets pregnant. However, we deem it as, oh well, now she has messed up her life, she's not going to go anywhere, she's not going to rise as she should. But you did, in spite of. So I want you to talk to those people and tell them these things will happen, these feelings are valid, however you can change it. So how would you walk them through that path to believe in their better?
I think first and foremost is knowing that everybody has stuck points. And that's one of the things
Mm-hmm.
when you're in therapy, most of the time I'm telling people like, this is normal. This is normal.
Yes.
Uh, you're in your head and you only have your voice, or sometimes it may be a parent's voice, whoever brought you up, but like you only have this limitation. And,
Mm-hmm.
and so when you think about like, oh, everybody gets stuck, yeah, but you got to ask yourself, what options. Sometimes you got people that think you can only go left, you can only go right, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it might be, I'm going northeast. What? Yeah, you actually might be able just to move or pivot just a little bit
Right.
if
Just a
you know
little bit.
the ability to do that. And so, I think it's important that people know that we all get stuck. We all
Mm-hmm.
have blocks. We all have fears, and how people overcome them. Um, a lot of times I say go to therapy, and I'm not saying that always have to be with me, but even when I'm working with my
Yes.
clients and they'll talk about like, their partners or their friends or parents, and I'll be like, will they go to therapy? Because I'm not going to necessarily just go in my head and say, okay, well, this is what I can do. I might say, well, I've been here all my life, or,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
I just don't have the money. A lot of times people are in like financials. I just don't have the money to do this. Or, hey, I got 4 kids and, I got 4 kids and, nobody's going to, want to marry
Yeah.
me with 4 kids, or it's really
Mm-hmm.
hard, or, whatever. You come in and you have these issues that you're carrying. And that's why therapy and having somebody who does understand or has been there or and has been trained, again, introduce you to other perspectives, and we get to see if this is actually coming from a deeper place. Are you a person who self-sabotages, where you only
Mm-hmm.
always see the stuck points? You
Right.
might be, but you didn't really know that because all you see is the stuck points. These
Mm-hmm.
are the kind of things that we can help you. And I don't think I said, and I will say, I went to therapy. I had my
Oh
person for 10
yes.
years, 10. And I tell people yes. And I said it was like when I went through the divorce, that's actually when I started seeing them, because I was a
Mm-hmm.
therapist. So I needed a place to kind of talk about the divorce and all of the things that came with that in terms of like, feeling like a failure, or,
Mm-hmm.
what does that mean for
Absolutely.
my children, and how are they going to feel, and did I let them down, and et cetera, et cetera. um when I took the job, when I decided to go back to school, there were so many things I went, and I would go and I would sit down and I would kind of talk them out, and
Yes.
he would just broaden perspective or just give me some things to think about, and I felt better, in terms of, yes, dating a man with children. My husband, I call him my forever husband. Shout out
Mm-hmm.
to my husband Terrell, my forever husband. That he had 5 children, and so I'm like, what am
Okay.
I doing? And some of them, and they were younger, and I was like, what am I doing? And we talked that out through therapy. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And
Absolute. Oh, very good. Yes, very good. Because you do need a neutral person, and you help them walk through whatever areas, like you said, they may be stuck in or not aware of.
correct.
Because self-sabotaging, you would not believe how many clients come through and you tell them, well, you're self-sabotaging. And they look at you like, no, I'm not. Do you really understand what that means? Well, yeah, that's when you do things to sabotage your progress. And that's okay, yeah. So let's look at that. Yes, that is the definition. So now let's look how that shows up in real
Mhm.
life, in real time. So, yes, ma'am. Yes. Yay, therapy. Okay, good, good. So, so you took them through them understanding them basically. Don't automatically accept a no for you're better.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. That's good. That is really good. Um, there was one other thing that I wanted to ask you. Okay, so are you taking clients in Michigan?
I
If
am. I
okay,
am. So this is such a great time. And again, I'm so grateful and thankful that you had me and the timing couldn't be better. I am
okay,
expanding to a group practice. So I am hiring a clinician to support me with my Georgia base as well
mm-hmm,
as my Michigan base. And
okay,
we are taking on new clients. So this is slightly different, and I'll tell you what we're doing. The therapists that are working in me is what I'm calling a therapist incubator. So
okay,
we're also being they'll be trained in EMDR resourcing. They will also be trauma informed. We
mm-hmm,
also specialize in women's health, so that's going to include perinatal, perimenopause, divorce, things like that. And these are things and trainings that I have picked up along the way. And so whoever is coming in, um, the therapist is going to be trained in that. So I already hired them. So
okay,
they're going to start in July. So I'm very excited about that. And we do take all kinds of insurance. We also offer a sliding fee scale starting as low as $85. And I tell
okay,
people I know that that is on the lower end and something, and there's a lot of
mm-hmm, yes,
no controversy like, oh, do you know what you're worth? I already know what I'm worth. And I am grateful that I have other opportunities and things that take care of me, that allows
okay,
me to keep a fee like that low, as well as to bring in new therapists, because I want it affordable. You know what I mean? I want, you
okay,
know, where people will come in and people do pay. And so when you say that versus 100 or 120 or 200, then you have people who will commit to it. And we do have other services. We also
mm-hmm,
offer therapeutic intensive, especially for those who are doing EMDR and they want longer, more intense sessions. And so yes, I am seeing clients. That's what you asked me, but I was so excited because it's like, yeah, expanded, and we want you to call us, and we are here. We're about
okay. Give them. Yep, you can give them the phone number to the Michigan office.
I am. We are
Mm-hmm.
about core building. We are about connection. We are about having a safe place, culturally competent. When I say that, I tell people that there are some differences. That doesn't mean like the differences are good or bad. Like when you're dealing with children, there is some
Yes.
things that you need to be aware of, or veterans. I've had some
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
around that particular space, some things that you need to know. And so when it comes to high performing women, we have some services and supports around that, as well as Black women. We have services and supports around that. But I see all women, and
Mm-hmm.
I say
Mm-hmm.
that because there is some things that come in when it's talking about gender specific. We're also LGBTQ friendly and supportive. Again, making sure that when you show up
Mm-hmm.
to our space, that it's a safe space, and then
Yes.
we're going to dig in to get to the root. And that's usually um, what I say when people come in for their consultation. So
Okay. What's
you
the name
asked,
of the office?
I am going to give you the name of the office. My Oh Lord, I'm looking up my my office phone number. Um the name of the office is Dr. Shine, the LPC and Associates, but you can find me
Okay.
under Dr. Shine. SHAWN,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the LPC. That's me on social media, on all social media. So that's usually one word, Dr. Sean, the LPC. But
Okay.
the website, Dr. Sean Online.
Oh,
That,
okay. You did say that earlier.
yep,
Online. All right.
you can find you
And
can
that's
find us.
drshawnonline.com.
Mhm.
Okay. Excellent.
Find us there, and I'm also going to give you the phone number, and I actually should have had this available. That's 800
Okay.
554 two
Mm-hmm.
five zero three. So that's
2503. Okay.
2503. And so that's for anybody. So I did mention that we do also do counseling. I remember I told you we have a program for high achieving women, um,
Mm-hmm.
where we do coaching as well as counseling. So actually,
Okay.
I see people all over the country when it comes to the coaching. So I'm the only one doing the coaching
All
right now.
right.
I will eventually train my therapist to give them
So
options
good. So
on,
good.
what they want to do. But when it comes to therapy, we can see people in um, Georgia, and we can see people in Michigan, and we do accept most insurances.
Okay. Now, where are you located in Michigan? Or where will is it
So
just virtual?
it is all virtual,
Oh,
correct?
okay. Got it.
100% virtual. So yeah, so we do have an office, and but it's 100% virtual.
All
Um,
right.
So, but I have come into town to do things, and then that
Okay.
because we've seen each other and done things together.
Yes.
So, especially for therapists, when I'm coming into town to support other therapists, we
Okay.
put things out on social media so you can,
Good.
you
Good.
know, kind of connect
Excellent.
with us.
All right. All right. Good people, you all heard it. She has some services for you. Very well rounded. So that's really good, Dr. Shine. Look, I'm proud of you, and I'm glad that I was one of
Yeah.
your students. Yes, ma'am, indeed, because um that was a very good experience to walk me, escort me into the world of um, counseling and helping others, and the academy that uh, you and Dr. Napoleon were a part of. And I can't forget your other
Dr.
partner.
Cheryl. Mm-hmm.
Yep,
Yep.
Dr.
Oh,
Cheryl. Right,
yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good aspect that you guys had, where you just opened the door to everybody that's getting their license, that's limited license, still in school. I thought that was really nice. Absolutely. So, all right, we're gonna come to an end, and I
Oh,
and I just, but remember, I told you I want to do a part two, because you can walk people through um, healing from a breakup or a divorce. And I might do like a little series with that, because I have a colleague, she's an attorney licensed here in Michigan and Florida, where she helps with family court and co-parenting, those types of things. So I think that would be a good series.
I'm with it. I shared off camera, just that journey and being able to find
Hmm.
love later in life and finding love after divorce and how you put yourself out there. And I
Hmm.
mentioned that I was in therapy, so I will be happy to come back and share that because it has allowed me to thrive and to be
Yes.
living in a life that I never even dreamed that it was possible.
Aw, that's excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming, sharing your day with me. And let me know if you need me to help you with something. I'm available. I'll always be there for you. And we could just look. help folks together.
I love it. I
Help
love it.
folks together.
For
Right.
having. I'm so proud of you. I'm so
Oh,
proud of you. Proud of you.
thank you. Thank you. And look, I tell people all the time, it was Dr. Sean. She helped me so much. But Sienna Heights, they were really good too.
Yeah.
I really did like that program from the beginning to the end. So I like that. All right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. And I appreciate your time. So you go ahead and have a good one.
Thank you. You
All
too.
right. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye.